Okay, so we have D is equal to 50. Let's go ahead and find A. Okay, so A is equal to max minus min. We're going to check these values with a calculator, of course, anyway. Divided by 2, which is going to be your 80 minus 20 divided by 2. Make sure you're looking at that math calculation. And A is equal to 30. Okay, you check these by putting them in a graph. So, again, and this is also going to help your scale because you have to start over again. And then your 30 is here. Okay, so your 50 is gonna, your D is 50, so that's in the middle. And then you can check plus 30, 20 plus 30 is 50, and then 50 plus 30 is 8. The amplitude is the distance from your central axis to your maximum. Okay, so we'll plot these points that we're given. 3 is maximum, and 7 is your minimum. Alright. Now, if you notice, when we talked about cosine, which is that U-shaped figure, this is pretty much only half of it. And it starts not at 0 this time, it starts at the t-value of 3. So as we're looking at this, we still have to find our period. So let's go over the red. Your period is equal in definition to the time it takes to complete the sine or cosine pattern. Sine pattern starts at the central axis, so this is definitely cosine. Cosine starts at a maximum and it goes maximum, central axis, minimum, central axis, maximum. If you notice, anytime they give you max to min, this is only half of the period. So this is distance, so our period is going to be however long this takes, and now you can count, or you should know distance is subtraction, which is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's at 4 times 2. But formally, I would write it in perspective of half of the period would be to take it half, or we have to double it, which is going to be 7 minus 3. So our period is equal to 8. 8 seconds. Okay, and now we're ready to find our B. B is equal to 2 pi divided by your period. 2 pi divided by 8. 2 and 8 are even numbers. Divided by 2 is pi over 4. So B is equal to B is pi over 4. We are ready to write this function rule. This is everything. We've addressed everything, even C. C is where the graph starts according to X. So we talked about that before. This starts at the horizontal shift, so we're going to write that as X minus 3. Here we go. Function is Y equals A cosine B. Horizontal shift, this is called our phase shift, and that's going to be X shifts to the right, so we write that opposite, 3, and then plus our D. Of course, we're going to put this in our graphing calculator to check. Okay, so A is just typing in this information from what we have, 30 cosine. Okay, cosine opens set of parentheses. We got to do that same thing before. So we're going to open it, we're going to have to close it. Pi over 4 is a fraction, has to be in its own parentheses. So I'll leave it as that. So we have to have another parentheses. Pi over 4. Close it for B. Open it for your horizontal shift, which we didn't have any other problem, which is X minus 3. Shift to the right. Close it for your horizontal shift. Close it for the entire B and C combination, plus 50. Okay, we got to check our window. It's not going to show us anything until we check our window. X is from 0 to 7. We're ending at 7. I'm just going to go ahead and make it 10. Counting by 1 is fine. 1 scale, 0. Our max is nowhere near 160. This time our max is 80. So I'm going to type 80. It will not get higher than that. 0 to counting by tens, this is fine. Let's graph and see what we have. It didn't show us any of that behavior. You have to know. We only need this to check, so we're just going to go back in time. And remember, when you get on a Ferris wheel, you get on at the minimum. So let's see. And to do that, we have to check that x is equal to 3. It should be at our maximum value of 80. So that's our second trace. Enter. And we're putting in 3. Enter. Sure enough, got that 80. This is ready to go. Look at all the intricacies involving. This is our first equation. Okay, let's go ahead, get to business. X is equal to 11.5. They want you to find your y or your height. Rounding to 2 decimal places is already engaged. 11.5, enter. Quit. Oh my gosh, why? If you're looking, 11.5, I'm looking at my graph, we're only at 11. Okay, we have to go ahead and we have to make this bigger. So I like when this happens because then we can't give up. So I'm going to go right to window, and instead of max, x max expand, I'm going to make it 15. And if they ask to change us, we'll just go right away. Second calculate, enter, and let's put it in. Oh, it has to draw. Okay, and then we're just going to put our 11.5 in. Yes. Okay, and we get 77.716. Okay, that's very straightforward. Box this in. And I forgot they put our unit of measure. And I guess height is in meters. Ferris wheel is kind of high. Let me just feet. Okay, next question. Let's see what we have. Determine the first 2 times. Okay, they want 2 answers for x. When t is greater than 0, time always must be greater than 0. So x is equal to t. We're going to have 2 t values, t1 and t2. Prepping our workspace. Our goal is height. Height is a y value. So we're going to put on y2, just like we did our last one, is equal to 70. And all we do, everything is set. y2, 70. And I think I put it on y3. Let me fix that. You could leave it in 3 too. Okay, so as you can see, it's n, 70, and right away we're going to go to second trace. We want 5 for intersect. And of course we have to wait for the first one to be drawn. And then our second y2. Bingo. Alright, and it's asking us for the find our first curve. It's easier to move on a second curve because it's a horizontal line. So I'm just going to arrow up and that takes you to the second curve. And then I'm just going to go left. We need to be left of that first time. Okay. And you want to take your time and get to the left. Okay. Now I'm going to just go back to the second, which is actually the first. You see this is y first, and it asks for the first curve. And you can press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. That first value is 1.929. This is clear because after that 9 is a 1. Now to get to the second one, you do the same thing. You're just going to say second trace 5. Again, it's easier to move. I'll stay here. You just go right. You just have to get close to or above that maximum. There we go. We now can enter very close to the second line. We're going to press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And there we have it. Our second value is 4.07. Now I'm going to hesitate to look. That 0 is going to become a 1 because the 4th digit is 8, which rounds to 1. And you have your 2 measures. for time. Okay, done. Let's move this down, and we've answered all of these questions, A, B, and C. On with the next one. Okay, so for 42, I took the liberty of drawing my X and Y axis. Now the only tricky thing is we're using military time when it comes to ocean and dock, which means we're looking at hours in terms of a 24-hour day. Now, I'm looking at these problems in specific. It says the first low tide. That means this function is going to begin at a low tide, which is 2 meters, and that is at midnight. Midnight, in terms of military time, is 0 o'clock, and we start here. Okay, marking, and then we go into the first high tide is at 6:30. It just went hour intervals, midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. So we have to go 6:30. This is, look at this. This is not an exact, it's not straight, it's not as easy as we would like it to be. So it's going to be a little bit after, it's going to be actually halfway between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. So it's going to be right here, and we're going to put that exact measure, and it says it's high tide. So high means between 6 and 7. It is going to be 8. I'm going to write the coordinates of this because we really need it. So the point here is going to be processed as the point 0, 2. I don't know if we want to put that 0, 2. We could. Is here. Now this point, and here's what we have to know about time. Time of 6:30. Time is based 60. So we need to convert that into base 10. So it's going to be equal to, if we're making this into a decimal or base 10, it's going to be units of a whole 30 divided by 60. And that's 1/2. So this is 6.5. 6.5. We're going to have 8, and that conversion is necessary. And it's going to look like this. This is what they gave us. This is what they have. We're going to take learning from what we did for the other problems, and we're going to look at what we're going to do here. We're going to find our D first of all. D is equal to, and we've done this, max plus min divided by 2. Keep writing it over and over so it stays fresh in your mind. Max is 8. That's 10. So D is equal to 5. Draw it right between there. That's that halfway point, and that's going to help you. You can see right away that A is 3. Okay, so we're not even going to do the work for A. We're going to approach this by logic. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. So A right away is 3. We're going to decide which function to use. This function is starting at a minimum. Cosine functions start at a max or a minimum. The way we get that minimum value is reflecting over the x-axis, which is, we're going to make this a negative. So that's we're going to look at is C. C, graph or cosine function, starts at a min. So the x is at 0, so we're going to have negative a. So here we are. Determine the trigonometric function that models the graph. It's going to be y equals our a cosine. I want that negative sign to pop out, so I wanted to change the color. Okay, we have our A, we have our D, but we have to figure out, and our D value is 5, we have to figure out again what is B. X is gonna, C is gonna be 0, so all we have to do is, here's our X, and we just gotta find out B. Alright, under principle, minimum to max is half the period. So we gotta find our period. And a period is the time it takes to complete So all I'm going to do is it's going to be 0 to 6.5 is 6.5. So it's going to be 2 times 6.5. And our period is equal to 13 seconds or 13 hours. Okay? And now to find B. B is equal to 2 pi over your period. And it just stays a fraction, 2 pi over 13. And you can't simplify it anymore. And I'm just going to take this B value and plug it in. Nice. Okay. The ship requires, now we're going to look, we did 1, we did 2, now we're going to look at 3. Suppose the ship requires at least 3 meters of water. The meters of water is your tide. I'm planning in dock after midnight, okay? So determine the earliest, this means the first, all right? This is, again, your Y2 value, meters of water. They wrote it in words, Y equals 3. That's our Y2. Now we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so what I did is I have partial of what the last equation was. I went ahead and just typed over our previous A value, put negative cosine. And then I wanted to stop because I want to show you how we can already use what we have and change as we go along. So I hovered over the second set of parentheses, and by pressing second delete, which is insert, I'm just going to put, see where I am? And I want to put a 2. Okay, I'm just going to delete. I didn't have that exactly. So it's 2 pi is our numerator. Now I want to go over and I want to press 13 for our new denominator, 13. Again, second insert, put our 3, our B values in parentheses. We don't need the C anymore. And I'm just going to press delete, delete. Now some people like to start over fresh. You know, you do what you feel most comfortable with this. And that's all. That's life. So I just wanted to teach you another method, and I'm just going to press delete, delete. Okay, we only need 1 parentheses to close it. That's to multiply our B value times X. We have it, and our Y, our new D, is 5. So delete that 0, and our goal is to get to 3 this time. So I just press clear, erases everything. I don't know if you want to do that all the time. Now you got to change your window. If you want, this is going to be really from 12 to 12. So this is going to be 0 to 12. 12 noon is 12 o'clock. So your x-axis is going to dramatically 12. Let's go to window. 0 to 15, that's fine. We're just going to go to 12. Counting by ones, we're counting by hours is fine. 0, but our maximum height is only 8. So I'm just going to press delete and press 8. X scale has to change. We're going to count by ones. Okay, let's graph and see what we see. They want us to sketch this. We already have enough of it sketched. We want to check at 6:30 or 6.5. We have 8 feet. Here we go. Always check. Second, calculate. And we want value 6.5. Better be 8. Yes. Okay, moving on. We're ready to go. We're going to go to Y2. Oh, we already typed our 3 in there. Let's go, and then we're going to do our second insert. Excuse me. You can look over here. It's too complex. So I'm just going to go over here. Second, trace. And we want 5 for intersect. First curve. Again, I'm just going to come down to the second left arrow. There are 2 places. It's just easier. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, jump down to the first. Okay, now we're at the first, and now because we're below it, we can just press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we have that time. Let's scoot this over, because that's x, which is equal to t, and that t value is equal to 1.74. Looking notes, that's a 1. Even if we look what's going to happen in the future, that's going to change to a 2. So it's just 740 seconds. And we are done. Box in this puppy.